OMG Zaz, boys, girls in betweeners, welcome back to a special video where we're going to cover every single goddamn thing we know about Ibuki, who has just finally been revealed, but there's a little bit of controversy surrounding that reveal, which we're going to jump into right now. So the first thing that you need to know if you are unaware is that Ibuki, it's June. We've passed May. And then June comes up to May or whatever. I don't know. I don't count months. We're in fucking June though, and there's no Ibuki. And the reason for that is because Capcom have delayed Ibuki's release, which is really, really unfortunate. They've actually basically come out and said in their tweets that they acknowledge that basically they're late, they're behind the 8 ball, and that she will be released in June alongside the story content. Now originally, basically June was not going to have a DLC character available. It was going to be the release of the big story update because the game caught a lot of flack when it was first released, and to some people rightly so, not so much to myself, but some people took umbrance with the fact that the game had no story mode. There was, no real meat to the bones aside from the online. So they're doing the big CGI or, character-driven story mode coming out this month, and Ibuki's going to be released around the same kind of time from what they've been telling us. Now, I'm not really too thrilled about this, not so much because Ibuki's being delayed, just because it sets a dangerous precedent. Now, on the one hand, Street Fighter V is a game that got pushed out the door. There's no question about that. It got pushed out the door basically because Capcom said they wanted to get it out this year so it would be available not only for the Capcom Cup, which is obviously their own set of tournaments, but also for EVO, which is coming out, well, basically next month, almost a month from now. So that's really the big reason why they pushed it out so early this year in what was clearly a very, I wouldn't say unfinished, but a very bare bones state, let's be honest about that. So that's the problem that they have there. Now, as I said, I don't really have an issue with that. It's more the fact that I just don't like the fact that now that they've done it once, they can kind of do it again. If people aren't going to throw their arms in the air and melt down on the internet, as people do melt down on the internet, they could do it again, which is going to really suck because I already have to wait until the end of August to be able to play my waifu Jury, and if she gets pushed back any further, I may just slit my wrists instead of waiting. So that could be a problem for me. But seriously, if you want to look at it objectively, it is also a good thing because once again, game pushed out early. It was very raw, very unfinished, if you do really want to use that word. So for them to say, okay, rather than risk making the same mistake again and pushing this character out the door before she's ready, we're going to take an extra month to make sure that she is released properly. And I think that's probably, selfishness aside, probably the smarter move because they'll cop less flack for releasing a character a month late than they will for releasing a character which is unfinished, buggy, or broken, or completely unbalanced. So that's probably the smarter move on their choice. It's the lesser of two evils on that front. So that's one thing. Now the other thing that I did mention there is that EVO is just around the corner, and this does present something of a problem for people who want to play Ibuki at EVO, because if she'd been released at the end of last month, it wouldn't be an issue. But now she's going to be released within a month, in all likelihood, of EVO basically starting, doing its tournament thing. And Mr. Wizard, the man who runs EVO itself, has basically said that June 15th is the cutoff. They want a 4-week window so that everyone has time to get familiar with the character, to learn, not only to learn the character if people want to use it, but also for people to learn the matchup if they're going to fight against her, which is pretty fucking, well, just reasonable if you ask me. So that's really the window that Capcom have. If they don't push her out the door, basically 2 weeks from when this video goes up, she will not be tournament legal at EVO, which is something just to bear in mind if you are looking forward to seeing some high-level Ibuki happening at the tournament. Now, my thoughts on the character herself. I didn't do a reaction video for her just because I've been very busy lately with a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my life, which I'm probably the only person on the internet who doesn't like to air their dirty laundry through Twitter or Facebook or whatever. I kind of keep that stuff to myself, so I haven't been talking about that. And I just didn't feel like I'd really be in the right place to do it for the video, so I didn't do one. But if you want to know my thoughts on Ibuki, that's kind of how I feel. That's kind of how I've always felt about Ibuki. I've never, even though I do like my female characters, and I do like to play a lot of female characters, I've never really been interested in Ibuki, which is kind of funny to me because she looks cool. There's nothing wrong with her. She looks fun. She looks interesting enough. I guess I've never really been interested in the whole ninja schoolgirl kind of trope. It's a very sort of you know, for a lot of people who watch these kind of videos will obviously be kind of people who watch a lot of anime as well, and you guys would know that like the Ninja Schoolgirl is a very prevalent anime trope, which has been, you know, very popular for a very long time, and I kind of felt that she just like really tapped into that a bit too much, and this latest iteration is probably the worst offender of that I've seen so far. The fact that she now does the very Naruto-esque kind of ninja steals with her hands when she's doing her super. Yeah, the fact that her super looks basically like a Rasengan, the fact that the theme, which we're hearing right now in the background, sounds a fuck of a lot like I pulled it off the Naruto soundtrack, is kind of indicative of that. It's a damning indictment, let's put it that way. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with her. She looks fun. I'm definitely looking forward to trying her, because I thought that I had to be trying Balrog before I played her, and I was not looking forward to playing Balrog at all. So, no, I mean, like, gameplay-wise, like, that's character-wise. That's how she looks character-wise. Gameplay-wise, looks like a lot of fun. And I'm going to get into the specifics of the gameplay in a moment, but just from the way that she looks like a Rushdown character, mix-up character, obviously, if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you know that I do play a lot of Cammy at the moment. So I do like my Rushdown, and I do like my mix-up, so that is a good thing. So yeah, and the fact that she has projectiles, which is something that I miss dearly with Cammy. I really do miss not having a projectile when I'm playing Cammy. That's going to be a lot of fun as well. Alright. So let's talk about some character notes. Now these are just some kind of Cliff Notes versions of the character notes. There actually is a very detailed breakdown of all the basic character tech that we know so far, which I've pulled off the interwebs. There's a link there for the original article because I don't like to steal stuff. But this is basically everything we know regarding how she works at the moment. But the real highlights that we have basically are that all her standing punches are special cancelable, which is pretty damn awesome actually. Her standing HK is her crush counter, but it will whiff on crouching opponents, so it's really just designed to be Dragon Punch, that kind of thing. So if they do a Dragon Punch, or they do a super, or anything else like that, that's just like really obvious it's going to be like crush counterable, that's what you're going to be using it for. You're not going to be using it to try and counter pokes or anything like that. She no longer has her neck breaker or her spin kick special moves, which is kind of interesting to me because even though I didn't play Ibuki in Street Fighter 4, I did play against her a lot, and those seem to be very defining traits of the character in terms of how she was played. So the fact that she no longer has those is pretty interesting. I'm going to be interested to hear what some of the more hardcore Ibuki fans feel about that. Now her overhead is -2 on block, which means it's completely safe. Obviously you can't follow up after that, but it is still a safe move. Her kunai are safe on block, and any move which is special cancelable, you can basically cancel into kunai to make it safe. Her air kunai mix-up will still work. Now the air kunai mix-up, if you don't know what it is in Street Fighter 4, basically you get a hard knockdown in Street Fighter 4, which was very easy compared to Street Fighter 5. Jump up, and if you timed it right, you could throw a kunai, and that basically would appear in your opponent's hitbox as they were getting up off the ground. They had to guess from the speed of it and the angle of it whether to block left or right. So it was basically a 50-50 mix-up when you threw the kunai. Sometimes it was so hard to tell, it was pretty much impossible to block. It was never unblockable, but you always had to take a guess whether to block it one way or the other if it was timed very well. So you can still do that in Street Fighter 5, but it has to be off a crush counter because that's obviously the only way you're going to be getting your hard knockdowns. The kunai that she has also need to be reloaded. If you look in the videos of Ibuki herself, you'll see that she has a little kunai meter next to her V gauge. She can hold up to 6 kunai at a time, and those kunai will actually get used. It's kind of a mechanic that they've borrowed from Killer Instinct. They've obviously been taking a lot of inspiration from Killer Instinct, as these videos and the game itself shows. That as she uses these up, they basically disappear from her little gauge, and once she runs out, they have to be reloaded. She can reload them before that, obviously, and basically she can throw more than one at a time if she wants. If you hold down the button, the longer you hold it down, the more kunai she will throw out when you do a move, which is very, well, it's very interesting. I'd be interested to see how well that mechanic performs. They do have to be manually reloaded as well. And lastly, her V-trigger will actually give her 2 bombs. So her V-trigger works similarly to Cammy's in the sense that basically once you activate it, a timer will go down, and as you basically use it, it will use half of the V gauge at a time. So you can always obviously still get 1 bomb out if you still have a tiny sliver left. It's not dependent on how much is left in there, but you'll only get a maximum of 2 bombs from the V-trigger gauge, and you can basically use those as a mix-up tool because they have to guess front or back depending on when you throw them and what time they go off and things like that. Also, Ibuki can't be damaged by her own bombs, and on top of that, she can actually even knock them around herself. She can actually kick them around and play with the placement of them a little bit before they go off to keep your opponent guessing. that's gonna do it, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful and informative. Oh, and one last thing as well I forgot to mention is that you'll see on the screen right now, there's also a leaked picture of Cammy, oh my god, of Ibuki's alternate costume. It was very, very accidentally, as it turns out, kind of glanced over in the stream that happened when the character was announced. So you can see a very fuzzy picture. It looks kind of like she's wearing a bikini or something, or a strappy kind of top. It's probably the latter. I doubt she'd be wearing a bikini. But you get the idea with that, so that's that as well. But thank you very much, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you do like the sound of my voice and you do like Street Fighter V and you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so, because I do a lot of Street Fighter V stuff on my channel. I do a weekly video series called Salty Warrior, where I play online ranked matches, and I hopefully find myself to be entertaining for you guys. That's about it. Take care, kisses, hugs, belly rubs, and I will see all of you very soon.